Greetings and salutations, fellow pilots. This is Akirishin. Who doesn't love some Spitfire? In this video, I will be featuring the Spitfire IX British Tier VII fighter. A lovely aircraft with great history behind it. And we are going to take an in-depth look at it. So the Spitfire IX has two 20mm cannons. It also has two 50 caliber machine guns. The 20mm cannons do 115 damage per second with a rate of fire of 420 rounds per minute and an effective firing range of 760 meters, which is excellent. The two 50 caliber Browning machine guns do 60 damage per second with a high rate of fire of 750 rounds per minute and a medium effective firing range of 540 meters. Of course, when you're shooting machine guns, you want to be close to your target anyway. So the Spitfire IX is stated to have good airspeed and boost. I believe that it has an 8-second boost. To accentuate that good airspeed, I have chosen to equip as consumables Engine Tuning 3, which increases engine power by 5%. That helps us maintain our speed in turns and in climbing. It also helps us at altitude to maybe go beyond our ideal altitude. I've also equipped Aircraft Polish 2, which increases the aircraft's top speed by 5%. Now, of course, many times folks equip on fighters maneuverability related upgrades, those being Control Surface Adjustment 3, which increases maneuverability in all turns by 3%, and Lightweight Airframe, which increases maneuverability in all axes by 3%. However, I did not equip those two upgrades, maneuverability upgrades, because this aircraft already has high maneuverability in horizontal turns. If you were going to equip one of those two maneuverability upgrades, I would recommend Lightweight Airframe because it increases maneuverability in all axes by 3%, whereas this aircraft's high maneuverability is in horizontal turns. But the Spitfire IX is such a maneuverable aircraft, it just doesn't need any more help in that regard. You would get more bang for your buck improving other aspects of the aircraft. And the Spitfire IX, as I mentioned, has good airspeed, but it does not have high or very high airspeed. So it's a strength of the aircraft, the good airspeed, but it's one that has room for improvement. So that's why I recommend the engine performance upgrades over maneuverability upgrades. This aircraft does have low survivability. That is its weakness, and to try to ameliorate that to some degree, I have chosen to equip Improved Covering 3, which decreases by 20% the chance of critical damage to wings and tail. So this aircraft's good airspeed and maneuverability being two of its main strengths, we don't want our wings or tail to be critically damaged, because that would take away from those strengths. Improved Covering 3 also increases the aircraft's hit points by 5%. In terms of pilot skills, I have tried to choose in such a way as to have synergy with our upgrades. So in that respect, I have chosen Engine Guru 1 and Engine Guru 2, both of which increase collectively engine thrust and top speed by 5%. Also, to accentuate the effects of our improved covering, I have selected Protection Expert, which increases the effect of improved covering by 40%. Looking at ammunition, I have selected Universal Ammunition. For the cannon, it has equal parts chance of fire and critical damage. For the 50 caliber machine guns, it has a high chance of fire and a medium chance of critical damage. To, again, keeping this aircraft moving, I have equipped as consumables automatic engine restarter and control surface auto trim. The automatic engine restarter, of course, restarts our engine should it get damaged. Control surface auto trim restores controllability of wings and tail. So this aircraft's maneuverability and speed and agility are so important, and that is why we have chosen these two consumables to protect those strengths. As our third consumable, I have chosen Automatic Fire Extinguisher, which automatically puts out fires. All three of those consumables help to increase the survivability of this aircraft. As gold consumables, they each have a 60-second cooldown and are activated automatically. So you don't have to think about it. When the need arises, they activate. The non-gold consumable versions of those have 90-second cooldowns and activate manually. In terms of the aircraft specifications, optimum altitude is 1,500 meters, so it is a medium altitude aircraft, but I can tell you with our engine upgrades, we can go well beyond that 1,500 meters. Average time to turn 360 degrees, 8 seconds, which is excellent. There are very few aircraft that can beat that average time to turn 360 degrees. Top speed at best altitude, 670 kilometers per hour, 780 kilometers per hour for our maximum dive speed. So it's a very maneuverable and fast enough aircraft. In terms of paint schemes, you're currently looking at Desert, which is my favorite. This is Marine, Winter, which is nice too, and Summer. All nice paint schemes. We'll go back to Desert though, because that's, as I said, my favorite. Okay, so what we're going to do now is head over to World of Warplanes website and use their Compare Aircraft tool to compare the Spitfire to a select group of Tier VII fighter peers. So we are here on World of Warplanes website using their Compare Aircraft tool, and I have lined up 4 other Tier 7 fighters to compare against the Spitfire IX. Now there are certainly more Tier 7 fighters than just the 4 that I have chosen, but the reason I chose these particular 4 aircraft is that they have at least high maneuverability or very high maneuverability. Why would I choose that criteria? Well, if you select the Supermarine Spitfire IX as your aircraft of choice at Tier 7, you are most likely doing so because it is an extremely maneuverable aircraft. Of course, there are other factors, like it is a very attractive aircraft, it's got great history, but one of the key features is it's just so good at the turn and burn roll. So I wanted to choose fighters that were at least as good at that function as the Spitfire. So first up, we have the Kai 84 and the A7M, both Japanese fighters, which tend to be very maneuverable. And when we look at armaments first, what we see is that both the Kai 84 and the A7M have superior gun armaments over the Spitfire IX. Well, why is that? So looking first at the Kai 84, we see that it has two 30mm cannons and two 20mm cannons. Now, the two 30mm cannons do 160 damage per second with a low rate of fire of 200 rounds per minute and an effective firing range of 580 meters. Now that 580 meters is less than the effective firing range of the 20mm Hispano cannons and the 303 Brownings that are on the Spitfire. The rate of fire is also less than the armaments of the Spitfire, but the damage per second is more. The two 20mm cannons, they have low damage per second of 75. They have a rate of fire of 400, which is less than the armaments of the Spitfire, but they do have a higher effective firing range of 640 meters as compared to the 420 and 600 meter firing ranges of the Spitfire armaments. Now, collectively, the armaments on the Spitfire, if they were to all be fired at the same time and all find the target at the same time, they would do theoretical damage of 340 damage per second total. That's for the Spitfire. If you were to look at the Kai 84's armaments in the same manner, collectively they do 470 damage per second. So you can see that they have much higher damage per second as compared to the Spitfire. If we look at the A7M, the A7M has two 20mm cannons, well actually four 20mm cannons total. And collectively, those four 20mm cannons do 440 damage per second. Again, as compared to the 342 total damage per second of the Spitfire. So again, collectively these cannons outdamage the cannons and machine guns on the Spitfire. Moving on to bombs and rockets, none of these aircraft have bombs or rockets, so that's not a factor. Survivability, looking at hit points, The Ki-84 has 20 less hit points than the Spitfire. The A7M has the same hit points as the Spitfire. So, and that 20 hit point difference for the Ki-84 is just really not that significant in my opinion. Top speed at best altitude, the Spitfire outclasses both the A7M and the Ki-84 in that regard. Maximum dive speed, the Ki-84 and the Spitfire are the same in that regard. The A7M is inferior by 60 kilometers per hour. Average time to turn 360 degrees. Now, if you look at the Ki-84, it has high maneuverability just as the Spitfire does. And because of that, it has the same rate of turn as the Spitfire. Conversely, the A7M has very high maneuverability, and therefore it has a 0.6 advantage in the turn over the Spitfire. Rate of roll, the Ki-84 has a slightly better rate of roll than the Spitfire, whereas the A7M has the same. Optimum airspeed, the Spitfire slightly inferior to the Ki-84, however slightly superior to the A7M. Stall speed, the Ki-84 and the Spitfire have the same stall speed. The A7M has an excellent stall speed of 90 kilometers per hour. I believe that is the same as the American Pancake Heavy Fighter, which is one of the best aircraft in terms of its stall speed. Optimum altitude. The Ki-84 has a 300-meter advantage over the Spitfire, whereas the A7M has a 400-meter disadvantage to the Spitfire. I will say that if you look though at the advantage that the Ki-84 has, the 300-meter altitude advantage, the Spitfire's cannons can still reach the Ki-84 even at their respective optimum altitudes. Rate of climb, Ki-84 is better in that regard than the Spitfire, whereas the A7M is inferior to the Spitfire in terms of rate of climb. So basically, the Ki-84 and the A7M have superior armaments to the Spitfire, but have at least as good maneuverability as the Spitfire. Looking next to the Yak line, we have the Yak III, which is a premium aircraft, and we have the Yak III, which is the Russian Tier VII tech tree fighter. Looking at gun armaments, we see that the Spitfire is significantly superior over the Yak III and the Yak III. So take a look at why that may be. For the Yak III, again, the premium aircraft, it has one, unbelievably, it has one and only one 23mm cannon, which does 170 damage per second, as compared to the total 342 damage per second of the Spitfire. So it's not even in the same class as the Spitfire in terms of gun armaments. Looking at the Yak III, so the tech tree Yak, it has again one 23mm cannon, which does 125 damage per second. It also has two 20mm cannons, which do 95 damage per second each. So total damage per second for the Yak III cannons is 315 damage per second, again as compared to the 342 damage per second of the Spitfire. So Spitfire again significantly outclassing the armaments of the tech tree Yak 3. Looking at survivability, the Spitfire has more hit points than either of the Yaks. Top speed at best altitude, both Yaks have an advantage over the Spitfire in that regard. The Yak 3rd by 90 kilometers per hour, the Yak 3 by 30 kilometers per hour. Looking at maximum dive speed, the Spitfire IX has a 20 kilometer per hour advantage over the Yak 3rd. It has the same dive speed as the Yak 3. In terms of maneuverability, now both the Yaks are stated to have very high maneuverability in horizontal turns. So they are both more maneuverable than the Spitfire. They both have a 0.3 turning time advantage as compared to the Spitfire. Again, not that significant, but with two equally skilled pilots, the Yaks would win a turning dogfight. Rate of roll, both the Yaks have a 40 degree per second rate of roll advantage over the Spitfire 9. Optimum airspeed, the same for the Yak 3rd and the Spitfire, a 21 kilometer per hour deficit for the Yak 3. Stall speed, the Spitfire will stall prior to either of the Yaks. Optimum altitude for the Spitfire and the Yak 3rd is the same, medium altitude of 1,500 meters, whereas the Yak 3 has a 400 meter disadvantage as compared to the Spitfire. Rate of climb, the same for the Spitfire and the Yak 3rd. The Yak 3 a slight disadvantage. Okay, so that is the Spitfire 9 as compared to its relevant Tier 7 fighters. So, having gone over my build for this aircraft, having gone over the aircraft specifications, having compared it to other relevant Tier 7 fighter peers, what we're going to do now is head into a battle and let you see the Spitfire 9 wreak havoc. Alright, so we'll be fighting in the Spitfire 9 over the Archipelago Stumbling Block Theater of Operation. We'll head first to the command center.
Attention, you are entering the zone controlled by the enemy.
Secure it so we can get bomber flights inbound to the enemy team's captured points.
You are approaching the front line. Off we go.
See, we've got pretty good airspeed on the boost. Some looking aircraft, the Spitfire. And it's got a 8-second engine boost. Spitfire is very much a medium altitude fighter, but our engine upgrades really help its performance in higher altitudes, maybe even beyond what it should be flying. So we've secured the command center, and we'll head now over to the airfield here, which I'm guessing has some big ground attack aircraft working on it. Let's see here. Alright, so we have a A6. So we'll take the Japanese fighter out first, because it is the most maneuverable fighter and therefore the greatest threat to us.
Attention all fighters. Enemy bombers detected. Destroy them.
Do a little loop here and let this fighter get around us here. A6M definitely has the maneuverability to take us on if it's got a pilot that can use it. Goodbye. Okay, so we will head on to their command center. Let's see, what do we have here? Multi-role coming in. We will take on the human pilot first. And then this other aircraft that's working on us here. Close in the distance here a little bit better. A lot of aces went under the theory of just get the plane so close it fills up your front view and you can't miss. We've got a fighter here behind us. What is that, the Japanese aircraft again? Russian. No match for our maneuverability. Multi-role coming in here again. Yak, what is it, 9U? So head over here and take it out. Trying to take the airfield back. What do we have there? A couple of a multi-roll coming in. Let's see if we can speed over here. Got to be careful here because we have a lot of enemy aircraft coming in. Friends of his. The Yak multi-rolls are one of the few multi-rolls that have the maneuverability to even have a chance.
Receiving reports about rapidly deteriorating weather conditions. Support will be
Okay,
unable to
a lot of
reach you.
enemy aircraft
Do you read
here.
me? Over. Victory is in sight. Keep it up.
Just making ourselves a hard target here to hit.
That's it.
Easy,
There's no
fairly
way to
easy
break
thing to
through
do.
now. You're on your
The
own.
Spitfire. But we are way outnumbered here. An A6M5. Good job there. Okay, so looks like we have this pretty handily in control. These bots. Your kung fu's better than mine. Well, we do have 4 minutes left to go. So we are losing aircraft pretty quickly here. And it looks like we only have bots left. But we've almost got it.
Large enemy force is
I think
attacking
they're
the
going to
command
run out of
center.
time. We're going to get it that way. Come on. So close.
I'm proud of you, pilot.
There it is.
Head back home.
Okay, so Flying Warrior Badge, Subjugator, Hunt for Falcon, Flames in the Sky. We're starting lots of fires up there. Effective Fire, Flying Start, of course the #1 spot on the team, and our 3 chevron grade report. So we'll head back now to the after action report and take a look at how we did overall. Okay, so over 2,400 in damage to aerial targets. We were shot down only once. 15 aerial targets destroyed, so 15 kills there. Over 11,500 combat points. So I would say that the Spitfire IX acquitted itself pretty well there in that engagement. So folks, I hope you have really enjoyed this video, and certainly if you get an opportunity to fly the Spitfire IX, I think you will have great success in it.